Welcome to another crash course in Warframe. Today, we're going to be covering Loki. Like Excalibur and Volt, it can be selected as your first frame when you create a new account. And Loki has a very unique playstyle when compared to other frames. While it is still fully capable of being played run and gun, its powers are tailored towards manipulating each fight to the player's advantage. They are also designed in such a way to allow them to be used in conjunction with each other, which adds a lot of depth to this frame. And the best part is, only its Uber could really be considered an offensive ability. And honestly, even that's kind of pushing it. The starter stats of the Loki lean more towards energy than anything else. Keep in mind that this stuff changes fairly quickly when you start getting to level 10 or so and start getting some mods. And while it does start with lower health and shields, because of your abilities, you won't have time to ever really feel squishy because you simply won't be getting hit no matter how close you are to the fight. So let's start with Decoy. For 25 energy, you can place a high threat hologram wherever your reticule is, up to a good distance away, and this is extendable by mods. It has its own health, its own shields, and will hold the attention of most nearby enemies while it stands. This ability can serve a number of uses alone, from losing a chasing group of Grineer to holding a door open. But this ability really shines when it's combined with abilities like Switch Teleport. But for the sake of going in order here, let's talk about Invisibility first. In Warframe, any charged melee attack on an unalerted enemy is an automatic crit, and when you go invis on Loki, even when surrounded by enemies, they immediately shift to an unalerted status, so cleave away. This 50 energy ability is incredibly useful when soloing content, and given the fact that attacking another enemy won't break stealth and enemies will be unable to target you, outside of AoE attacks of course, coupled with the huge amounts of damage you're going to be doing while invisible, it makes this an invaluable tool for both solo and party missions. It also does a pretty good job of making you feel like an actual space ninja. The third ability, Switch Teleport, simply swaps you and any target in exchange for 25 energy. And when I say any target, that includes your own teammates. Deduce that however you want, but let me show you how to be useful with it as a standalone ability. Say you're up in the rafters on Xenia and a teammate is being plowed by a wave of infected. Simply target him and swap him out for you, and when you get there, feel free to invis and seek shelter while your teammate lays down suppressing fire from above. The simple mechanic of switching positions with the target is pretty damn useful by itself, but keep in mind that your decoy can be targeted with the Switch Teleport. So if you're alone in the fray and no one can help you, drop a decoy 100 yards away and swap out with it. This will buy you some time while the enemy chews on the decoy to get your shields back up or basically make a break for it. Loki's final ability is both incredibly useful and useless, depending on the faction you're up against. Radial Disarm has a cost of 100 energy and will in fact permanently disarm all enemies within a certain radius. And since the Grineer are humanoid, they use standard rifles and weapons. Use this ability around them and they'll chase you around trying to take swings. Same pretty much goes with the Corpus, except Moa's retort to Kung Fu, and the Ospreys, well, you've seen what happens to them. But against the Infested, this thing is terrible. Why? Because they're unarmed. Granted, you could blow their arms off, but they'll still be putting out the same amount of damage. Now, I have noticed that in some cases, especially in the lower levels, it will do enough residual damage to kill some mobs. But when you start getting into the harder systems, forget it. Against Infested, I'd personally recommend drawing them all in, activating Invisibility, and then just get to chomping. It costs like half the energy. Loki is indeed a unique flower in the Warframe catalog, and definitely allows for a more Metal Gear-esque style approach to missions. His only downside, really, is that hideous hammerhead helmet. Good lord.